Hello underachievers, so I'm pissed off. I was gonna record a Youngblood cover, and my guitar lead broke, so I'm in my stroppy seat. This is where I go when I'm pissed off, and the reason I'm shirtless is because it's too hot. So before the Youngblood cover, I was actually gonna do a Cave Town cover, but I couldn't do that because I recorded vocals for a song on Monday, and then my voice is just not in the mood for Cave Town right now. There's a lot going on. So this video is about TERFs. I have some experiences with TERFs. If you don't know what a TERF is, it stands for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminist. So a TERF is a radical feminist that pretty much just doesn't like trans people. It's a transphobic radical feminist. They try and disguise their transphobia by saying like, oh, we're just concerned about women's rights. Like, you're not. You're just transphobic and you want a scapegoat. I actually made a video about a TERF a few months ago. I got a bunch of people telling me that I was a confused lesbian and, you know, telling me they wanted me to join the 41% of trans people that have, you know. So I don't have a positive experience of TERFs. I'm also in this Facebook group that's pretty much like a fight club for TERFs and trans rights activists, and holy sh**, some of them are crazy. Quite a high amount of TERFs in that group believe in selective abortion, in which they'd selectively abort male children so that they could reduce the male population down to 15%. This is not something I made up. I wouldn't be able to make that up if I tried. I completely understand why some women hate men, but like, there are TERFs in that group that have male children, and they just chat so much about them. The majority of the people in these groups believe that all trans women are actually not trans, they're autogynephiles. I'm not sure if I said that right. Pretty much an autogynephile is somebody that gets off on the idea of having, you know, female genitalia. They get off on the idea of being a female. They think trans women transition because they think it's hot to have a lady part. By the way, I'm not saying all TERFs believe this. These are just the TERFs that I've talked to. Not all TERFs. A lot of them also think that all trans women are pedos. They are just very strange. And you know, like, I'm sure a lot of them have these viewpoints because of the experiences that they've had with males. But you know, I've had some pretty terrible experiences with males. But that doesn't mean that I want to reduce their population. And not gonna lie, obviously I partake in the, oh my god, I hate men thing. I hate the patriarchy, okay? We know this. This is not the topic of the video. So I'd say like a few months ago, I got some YouTube comments that were a bit questionable from a woman called POSIE Parker. They were very interesting comments, so you know, I searched her name on my YouTube comments section. You can do that when you have a YouTube channel. And it seems she had left quite a few comments. So I'll read out 4 for you. So this comment is on my video about Trisha Paytas. I made a video about Trisha Paytas when she came out as trans. She's a troll. She's not actually trans. And that's not me being like, oh my god, she's a trender. Like, she's literally, she does stuff like this. She said she was a chicken nugget, okay. So in the video, I was kind of like, hey, like, this kind of sucks, Trish. This kind of sucks. And POSIE says, aw, the funny thing is there is no difference between straight woman Noah. You know what? I appreciate the, you know, consistent values. She doesn't think I'm a man, therefore I'm in a relationship with a man. I am a girl I am straight. I am straight woman Noah. There is no difference between straight woman Noah and Trish. That is the most offensive part. Not offended, but I'm not Trisha Paytas. Both are female. Alright, I mean, biologically, whatever, but who cares about biological sex? I do. Both seek attention, she's absolutely correct. Both have the exact same feelings about themselves. Got a hard disagree with that one, POSIE. I can't remember exactly what Trish said in her video. I'm pretty sure that she says she was 100% comfortable being a girl, which I'm not. Clearly, no boob. Just because Noah hated herself enough to remove her breasts, it's just the same. So here is, I feel like this distinction is important. I hated myself before I got top surgery, yes. I still do. But I didn't get my tits chopped off because I hated myself. I got my tits chopped off because I hated my tits. It's hilarious to think that trans is an actual thing, exclaims POSIE. I made a video reacting to a detransitioner trying to sue the NHS, which clearly stupid, but on that she said, when you're 25 and realise what a massive mistake all of this was, will you compensate the other girls you encouraged to mutilate themselves? There's a lot to unpack in this comment, and I don't have enough time to do it properly, but can somebody start a countdown to my 25th birthday and see if I'm a girl then? She thinks I'm making a mistake by transitioning. Now, the thing that got me in this, she said, will you compensate the other girls you encouraged to mutilate themselves? I have never encouraged anybody to medically transition unless it's what they think is best for them. It's like she thinks I go around saying like, hey you, get your tits chopped off. Now, that doesn't happen, but you know. This guy Matthew Kendry responds, I had top surgery when I was 17. I'm 32 now. I've had every surgery for a trans man. I don't regret anything, so suck on that, POSIE. The next one's quite short. It's tragic and hilarious that you don't recognize yourself in the detransitioner. I recognize that we both went on testosterone, but I am not the detransitioner. The last one is this. Noah, you're a straight girl with body image issues. I'm just having fun. Body image issues, yes, but not as bad as they were before I transitioned, much like millions of other young women. You fixated on escaping your body image trauma through transition, which you'll likely regret. I don't see what homosexuality or bisexuality has to do with you. POSIE! So those are the comments that POSIE left. I'm not a fan. So obviously I decided to look her up, and you know, I went on her channel. At that time it was called POSIE Parker. I just looked her up now. For some reason it says Kelly J. Keane. Was POSIE Parker her like Terf alter ego? Has she like detransitioned from being a Terf? Anyway, I searched her up, and you know, I went on the Urban Dictionary. I went on the Urban Dictionary for her name, and it says wife, mother, and feminist. I am sure that as a feminist, she would not be very happy with you first describing her as a wife and a mother. Wife, mother, and feminist who was harassed by police because a temperamental transsexual was upset that Parker doesn't believe that trans women are women. I don't actually know what POSIE Parker did. It says, POSIE Parker made me cry because she said chicks don't have dicks. So I guess she had some controversies in the past. When I posted the comments that she made on my YouTube channel, a lot of people were like, ah, not POSIE Parker, she sucks. She's the worst. So like, from experience, and clearly from other people's experience, I should not be a fan. Today I am going to be reacting to a 3 minutes 54 seconds video called POSIE Parker, Trans Women and Men. That's an interesting one. I'm excited.
This is where the pronoun thin end of the wedge thing comes in.
Okay.
So if we don't use female language for men...
If we don't use female language for men, of course they equate trans women to being men. You're trying to make us sound stupid by saying we're calling men women. We're not. We're calling trans women women. Stupid.
If we called trans women men, and we said, that man is going to win the cycling race, the women's cycling race, everyone would go, no. But because that man is referred to as a trans woman, and then now a woman in the press, then people have to have these conversations, which are ludicrous.
Ludicrous?
Because if we just said men and women, he and she, there's none of this confusion.
I don't really think it's that confusing. If someone's a trans woman, they present as a woman, everyone around them calls them she, I think it would be more confusing to call them he, right? If I was a room with someone that clearly presented as a woman and you called them a he, I'd be a bit like, oh, okay, what? That is confusing. Oh my god, I just realized her shirt says man. I know it probably says woman and her jacket is hiding the war, but it just says man. I'm confused. What is the truth? You say your name POSIE, you say you are she, but your shirt says man.
We're all very clear about what we're talking about. Rachel Reese McKinnon, calls himself Rachel McKinnon.
This is what I don't understand about purposely misgendering someone. Trans people most likely have been misgendered before, they're used to it. If someone is called Rachel, and everybody knows them as Rachel, and everybody knows them as a trans woman, as in a woman, and you decide to call Rachel a he, it just makes you look like a dick. Even if you don't agree that she's a trans woman or she's a woman, like, you'd still just call her a she. You don't achieve anything by misgendering someone. Like, even if there's, like, the worst trans person in the world, like, they're just a dick. I'm still just not gonna misgender them because I don't like them. Like, if someone calls me a she, I don't care, but, like, you're just confusing everybody around you.
He's a man. Full stop. You know, when people go, why? Well, the lungs, the muscle fibers, the...
Ah, yeah, the male lungs, yeah. Men have lungs, yeah.
No, because he's a man. We sort of get into these cul-de-sacs of, like, you've used the instance, and I think India was the one that introduced you to the idea that happens in utero, this sort of mix-up of... whatever it is, hormones or hormone washes, I think he said it was. Absolute nonsense.
So, like, we don't know why trans people are trans. There's a lot of theories that it happens in utero, as you said. We don't have proof for that. But, like, what does she think makes trans people trans?
But that's because we are trying to explain things that are so nonsensical, and then we're trying to put sort of intelligent hats on and explain why it's true, why it's not true. They're just men. That's it.
I wish I had the intelligence that POSIE Parker has. She's really solved this trans thing. Trans women are just men. Obviously, I'm joking. I don't expect cis people to understand what being trans is like. I don't expect them to know why people are trans, because, like, nobody really knows why. But reducing gender dysphoria and being trans and transitioning down to the fact that, you know, like, they're just crazy, they're just nonsensical. It's kind of nonsensical in itself. Trans people have literally existed for centuries before POSIE Parker was born. Like, I'm sure 1,000 years ago, people didn't have the language to be like, oh, I am transgender, I have gender dysphoria, I am now going to medically transition. Of course, they didn't have that language because it didn't exist then. That doesn't mean that people didn't experience gender dysphoria. What if, like, POSIE Parker is like Terf Jesus? What if she actually has all the answers and nobody's listening? POSIE Parker was placed on this earth so that we could all detransition.
Is there no compromise Posey, is there no middle ground where we can say, okay, fine, they're not women, let's say, what they are is trans women. And we create a separate category so that those people can get the comfort that they need, they can have their own pronouns used, but for the purposes of, let's say, sport and other fields, they're not treated exactly as women in that sense. But broadly speaking, we give them the comfort that they need to feel good about themselves.
So in order to compromise, I will have to change my language to something that I know isn't true.
Wow. Oh my god, she's crying. She's literally crying. There's literally no objective truth to any definition of any word. The word woman means something different in different cultures.
No, I'm not saying you have to say they're a woman. I'm saying you have to say they're a trans woman, for example. It's a new category, let's say.
No.
Why?
No. She's literally just being stubborn. She's so stubborn.
I just don't. I think it's really bloody offensive.
It's really bloody offensive.
To think that you can just stick on some clothes and demand that I change the way I think, because I don't think that trans women is a nonsense term. Woman, it doesn't apply to those.
But you don't think there's a difference between me and me having cut off my penis and replaced it with an artificial vagina and artificial breasts? Is that not a different person, a different type of person?
I think you're probably a troubled human if you do that, but I don't think that makes you a different category of human.
We're all troubled, Posey. I think she's quite troubled. She cares an awful lot about people that she doesn't know.
A lot of women, in particular women that I know who are very close to me, get incensed and enraged by the term cis woman. Why is that so contentious amongst women?
Because it's women that have to change all our bloody language. We're uterus havers.
I hate this whole thing. There's a tiny minority of trans people that think that people should be called uterus havers. I don't know anybody who wants to call people with uteruses uterus havers. It's the same with bloody, like, gingerbread men. Apparently trans people don't want them to be called gingerbread men. They want to be called gingerbread people. You think that because one trans person is fussy about words like that the entire trans community is?
I'm a woman. That should be enough, right? But it's not enough anymore because we have trans women. And so now apparently we have to have a prefix. This is why all the little tiny...
Can I just say that we've had the word cis for centuries? It's just a Latin preposition for on the same side or on this side of. It's just been used to describe people that aren't trans. It's not offensive. You don't have to call yourself cis if you don't want to, but you know, in comparison to trans people, you are cis. You're cis.
Placating language, right? That all the things that are supposed to be nice and polite and kind, why they're so f***ing dangerous. Because it means trans women, and I think the Green Party called us called women like me non-trans women.
You are a non-trans woman. You are not a trans woman. You are non-trans woman. Jesus Christ.
I mean, off. It's no.
Well, that was interesting. Tell me what you think of Posey Parker. How do you feel about this whole TERF business? All this TERF nonsense? Have a good day. See you later, losers. Goodbye. Maybe next time I film a video, it won't be as naked.